Hello everyone, I am so excited you're going to be part of the Holiday Craft Summit for 2023. There are so many things you are going to learn over this summit, but before we get to the summit, which starts on October 12th, we have a 9-day countdown project we are going to be working on. Now this project is a storybook card. Now, I'm not going to show it to you right away because I want it to be a surprise as we work on it day by day. So let's take a look at what we're going to need in order to do the entire project. First of all, on day one, I want you to grab the following from our countdown page: a supplies list and the templates. If you're taking notes, it's at betsmakes.com/001-HC2023-CountDown. If you go to that page, you'll be able to grab the supplies list and the templates. And of course, that is the page that you came to get to this link. The new link each day will be activated and you'll be sent an email. Now, you're going to be notified, as I mentioned, by email, but we'll also post it to the Facebook page. And the last lesson in this series will be on October 11th. But if you miss any of them, you'll be able to find them on the countdown page, so you'll be able to go back and grab the lesson you missed. Now, I would love you to post your project to the Facebook page. And of course, those that submit their project, there will be a draw at the end of the summit for a secret prize. So I'm so excited about that prize as well. Now, as far as supplies go for day one, which is today, you need a white cardstock for print then cut. You're going to only need 8.5 by 11 cardstock for the card base that we'll work on today. You'll need some glue, and of course my favorite is always Barely Art glue. You'll need some sort of scoring mechanism, such as a scoring wheel, a stylus, or if you're using a Joy, just have the pen draw in the mark and then you'll be able to use that for a score line. And of course any kind of scraper for making the folds. Now the templates we're going to use today is one called HC2023-Thalia-Cauldron.png, and then we have a Halloween Heart Doodles.png, and those are the only two things we're going to use. I have one last thing I would like to ask you, and that is make sure that you go to the YouTube channel and subscribe and make sure you get the notifications. That way when I post anything or make it live all during the summit, you'll be able to be notified right away without having to go into the Facebook group. So let's move over to Design Space. Now, inside Design Space, as I mentioned, we only needed to upload two things, and those were the two files, one called Thalia. So let's start a new project. I'm going to change the grid here. I want a full grid. There we go. Now, from Uploads, I wanted the Thalia Cauldron. This is what it looks like. And I wanted the Halloween one as well, Halloween Heart Doodles. I'm going to take both of those. Now that we have both templates in, you'll notice that they're both selected and they're very, very large. Click away, then click on the skull, and we are going to change the width right here at the top to 3 inches. You can use the tab key or enter key. You'll see it becomes very small. We'll move it out of the way. Now let's grab the cauldron, and this time we're going to change the height to 3 inches. So we have 3 inches wide for the Halloween and 3 inches tall for the cauldron. I'm just going to zoom in a bit. Now what we need to do is put an offset for each one of these. So let's click on Halloween, come up here to offset, and you'll see it does a 1/4 inch offset, which is just fine. We're going to apply it. Then we're going to change the color here to white. I want you to select both and then flatten down here at the bottom. All right, first piece all ready. Now let's work on the cauldron. Once again, we need an offset. And that looks pretty good. We are going to apply it. Change the color to white. We're not going to flatten it right now because we have something else we need to do at the bottom. Now the white's pretty hard to see, so let's just click on the edge of the white. Let's just change it to another color so we can easily see it. For this one, we want this to stand up in our card, so we need to put a base at the bottom. So let's go to our shapes. Let's just grab a square, and I'm going to unlock the square. Now, before we do anything with the size of the square, let's just click on our offset once again. And you'll see the width is 2.518. Well, let's make this 2.5. Just a little easier to deal with. And then when we click on the square, we can make the width the same, which is 2.5. Now for this particular one, we want something that's going to fit up in behind here, same width as the other one. We will center everything momentarily. Just going to drag it up. So that looks pretty good. Let's change the color to yellow so it's easier to see. Now I need a 1/2 inch for our score line up the bottom, but I don't need all of this extra space. So we know that 1/2 inch from here to approximately here is going to fold over. So do we have enough room? Yes, we do. So we can change now the height, and I'm going to make it 0.75. And the reason I made it 0.75 is it just allows us to stand it up a little better. So okay, let's grab all of this together, and we're going to align it and center horizontally. And that allows everything to fit into place. Now our next little job is going to be to grab this top one and grab our now rectangle. I'm going to hold down the shift key and click them both. I can also do it here in the layers panel. And what I'm going to do is click on combine here and then weld. Now you'll see that our witch has disappeared, but that's easy enough. We'll just select our design, and then we'll come to arrange up here, and we're going to send it to the back, and we have our witch, and she's on a stand here. Now the first thing we want to do here is I'm just going to group these so that I don't lose it. Up here in the layers panel, it's group, or you can use Control G. What I want to do is just sort of line the bottom up here, because I want 1/2 inch up for our score line. So let's grab a shape. Let's grab our score line. I need to rotate it 90 degrees. I also need to change the height to 2.5, and it looks like it's there, so let's just grab it. Now I'm going to put it at the 1/2 inch mark here. Make sure it's up 1/2 inch. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think it could go up just a tiny bit more, but that looks really good. Okay, to make sure everything is aligned, I'm going to grab them all. And once again, we're going to align center horizontally just to make sure everything fits, looks perfect. We are going to attach it. So now we have our two designs that are going to go in the middle. Now we have a springboard that we're going to create. In order to put this one in place, we need it to be held at the top so when it comes up, it stays up and doesn't lag behind. So we know this is 1/2 inch down here at the bottom. So we're going to need a 1/2 inch and then a 1/2 inch to attach to here and a 1/2 inch to attach to the back of our card. So let's go grab a shape. This is the tabs we are going to use to adhere this to the card. Now we're going to create several of these as we go over the next few days. I want to unlock it. Now in this case, we can use a 1 inch wide piece. I'm going to hit the tab key. Now I need it 1.5. We're going to divide it into 3 pieces, so 1.5. Hit the tab key and we're going to lock it in place. Now I'm going to adjust this one and I'm going to put it at X1 and Y1. Now I'm just going to go up here so that we can see it. And the reason I'm putting it there is when we go to draw the lines across, we're going to be able to see it. Let's go back over here. Let's go to yellow. We will change this to white when we get going with it. All right, I need 2 lines this time, and of course we need our shape. And this time we want to rotate it 90 degrees, hit the enter, but we only need it 1 inch across. Looks great. So let's just move this into place. Once again, we're going to the 1/2 inch mark. Now I'm going to hold the Alt key down. You see a little plus sign up here, and I'm going to drag down the second one we need. And I can tell that these are the right place. I made this at 1.1, so this is here should be 1.5. I'm really close. Let's come up here to the Y to 1.5. Make sure it's lined up. And of course with this one should be exactly at 2. I'm a little bit off, so I'm just going to highlight it and make it 2. Looks great. Let's highlight it all. Now this time we're coming back to a line and we're going to center it horizontally. It doesn't matter if it moved because we're just going to grab it here and we are going to attach it. Now we're going to be able to use this for other projects we're working on. All right, one last thing that we need to work on. We have our basic cut attached. We have our score line and our print then cut and print then cut. We haven't flattened this yet, but we will. And then of course our flattened one. But we will fix this in a few minutes. I want to get the card done first. So let's grab our shapes. Let's grab our square. And I'm just going to change the color. I'll just make it pink for now. I'm going to unlock it. Our card is going to be 10 inches long and 5 inches high. So we'll type in 10 and 5, and then we'll lock it in place. Let's grab a score line for it. Let's grab the score line. We are going to make the score line 5 inches. We're going to grab the 2 pieces, come to a line, and center. It's an easy way to center. I'm going to grab both and attach. All right, let's zoom back out. Now we mentioned we hadn't done a lot with this particular one, and we're going to have to make a change. So right now I am going to detach it. I'm going to select the witch and the backing. So it's click and shift click, and I'm doing it in the layers panel. I'm going to flatten it. Now you'll notice that the score line disappeared, so we're going to come up to arrange. We're going to send to back, and there it is again. We will grab all of this and attach it. So we are set to go ahead and make this. Make sure you save yours. I already have mine saved, but I will save it again. Okay. Countdown day 1 of 9. I'm going to put it under cards, and I'm going to save it. All right, one last little thing here is we're going to make sure that everything's going to work. We're going to go over to Make It and take a look at our mats. Now it comes up with a large piece of paper here. Now you can cut it out of a lot smaller piece of paper than that. They have 8.3 by 11. I'm going to go 8.5 by 11 because I know I can feed that into my printer. Now we're going to do several of these over the next few days. So you might want to print then cut this, save your paper, and you can use the back side for printing as well. So that's entirely up to you. So that's the print then cut on this one. And then here is our card. It comes up to the 10-inch mark, so you're going to be able to use an 8.5 by 11 piece of cardstock here in order to cut this one out. And it looks like we have our extra little piece here. That is the tab. Now, we don't want it as a print then cut and print by itself, so you can use a small scrap of paper. However you want to use on here, that would be an extra mat. Or if you're going to use some cardstock, I'm going to move the object. I'm going to move it to my other cardstock. And even though that's an 8.5 by 11, we still have lots of room here. But you could put a different piece colored paper here on the same mat, so you're saving your mats. So that looks really good. Now this extra mat will disappear when we get there. So we have our print then cut. So I'm just going to click on continue here. Now I don't have anything set up with my device right now, but you can pick any one you want. When we send this one to the printer, you'll notice that the lines have changed to just the top half. So you're not going to ruin this part, but you'll be able to feed this back through your printer in the opposite way. Does it matter if there's a hole in the paper? No, it does not, because it grabs the edges only. Now what I suggest you do here is you use your system dialog box when you go to do your print then cut to make sure your settings are exactly the way you want them, plus the type of paper and the feed into your printer. I use my rear feed because I want to use a heavier cardstock, so I use my rear feed. All right, we are ready now to get all of this done. So you need to have everything printed, cut, and ready to go for tomorrow's video. And we are going to put together our first card.